What I am about to tell you might touch something inside you that you didn't even know was dormant. It all started with something simple, opening a random drawer in the kitchen. But what I found there wasn't an object. It was a symbol, a ritual, a gesture so discreet it went unnoticed for centuries, guarded by wise women in silence, passed down only when the heart was ready. This isn't about magic or belief. It's a reunion with a power that's always been inside you. But maybe time, struggles, children, and pain have left it forgotten. I didn't discover this in a modern book. I found it in an ancient manuscript, preserved by monks, but clearly intended for women who carry a lifetime on their shoulders, and yet remained standing. If you feel like you've already given so much, if you feel abundance always seems to slip through your fingers, then maybe now is the right time. Take a deep breath, because in the next few minutes you'll remember something that you always knew somewhere deep inside. If something inside you felt a call, even just a subtle one, write in the comments now. Estoy listo para recibir abundancia. This simple declaration does more than it seems. It's a verbal pact with your subconscious mind, an activation code. When you write it, you begin. It doesn't matter if you're skeptical or curious. Writing is the first key, and by commenting, you not only open up, but also signal to the universe and to yourself that you're ready to break free from scarcity. While you do that, click like and subscribe, not as an automatic gesture, but as a conscious act of openness. This video is a channel, and what comes next will confirm that. The smell of incense, the faint sound of Tibetan bells, and her eyes like mirrors of eternity. That's how I met Nima. She wasn't famous. She didn't call herself a master. She was a petite woman, walking calmly, draped in simple fabrics, but with a presence that silenced every thought. She lived in a temple hidden among stones, where time seemed to rest. And when she spoke, she used few words. It was as if each sentence carried centuries of silence. The first time I saw her, she offered me a bitter tea. And without asking a question, she simply said, "Abundance doesn't come when you chase it. It comes when you stop and clear the place where it needs to land." I didn't understand. I thought it sounded beautiful, but vague. Only later did I grasp the weight of that phrase. Nima wasn't talking about money or success. She was talking about energy, inner space, about how we carry so many layers, noise, desires, and fears that there's no room for the new. That afternoon, she gave me something, a gesture, a ritual, simple, silent, but so precise it felt crafted uniquely for me. And that's where it all began. She took 3 elements, a glass of water, a piece of paper, and a spoonful of salt. That was it, nothing more. But the way she placed each item on the table, it felt like part of a forgotten choreography. as if it carried invisible precision. The water, she said, is consciousness, always ready to shape itself, but easily contaminated. The paper is intention. It records, absorbs. It's the bridge between the invisible and the tangible. The salt is the cut. It dispels, purifies, dissolves what no longer serves. In that moment, it felt poetic, but when she asked me to write a sentence on the paper, just one, something shifted inside me. It was as if, for the first time, I was saying something true, something that didn't come from what I wanted, but from what I was ready to release. Then she dipped the paper into the water with salt and told me to watch. It seemed far too simple, almost banal. But by the end of that day, a message I had been waiting for months finally came through, and from then on other doors started to open, so naturally it was impossible to call it coincidence. Nima just smiled and said, "The ritual doesn't make things happen. It only aligns you with what was already trying to come." And that's when I understood. Millions of people had already learned this, but each one in silence, like a personal calling. Now it's your turn. Rosa wasn't different from anyone else, but she felt as if the world had forgotten her. Every morning before sunrise, she woke with that weight in her chest. It wasn't exactly sadness. It was a kind of inner silence, as if she were alive out of obligation. She looked in the mirror and saw only roles. Mother, worker, fighter, never a woman, never a dream. During the day she smiled mechanically, did the dishes, rushed for the bus, took care of her kids, repeated, always repeated. And deep down, she believed one thing, that life was just this, that for people like her, only effort remained, that anything that came easy wasn't for her. That thought, though never spoken aloud, rooted deeply, and the more she believed it, the more life confirmed it, until that night. It was late. The kids were asleep. Rosa was scrolling through her feed, too tired to think, but too restless to sleep. Then the video appeared. The title didn't promise riches, but spoke of a simple ritual. Something inside her stopped. She hesitated, then kept watching. The words weren't magical, but something happened. It was as if someone was speaking to the part of her that still believed. That part she had buried. She felt a tightness in her stomach, not from fear, but from memory, as if recognizing something she didn't even know existed. And in that almost irrational impulse, she decided to try. She got up, grabbed a glass, a piece of paper, a little salt. She wrote the sentence that came as a whisper, "I release the pain of having to fight to live." She didn't even fully understand what it meant, but she felt a slight dizzy spell as she wrote. She cried. But it wasn't a sad cry. It was like opening a window in a stuffy room. She submerged the paper in the salt water, watched the movement, and for the first time in a long time, she felt watched in return, not by someone, but by life itself. As if, somehow, The universe had finally noticed her presence. She fell asleep without realizing it. She woke up without hurry. There was no gold on the floor, no magical news, but there was lightness. And that, for Rosa, was rarer than a miracle. That's where everything begins. That same day, the bakery owner, who almost never spoke to her, pulled her aside. She said that Rosa was doing good work, that she had been watching, that she'd like to sponsor a baking course for her. Rosa hesitated, thought it was a joke, but she accepted. During the course, she learned more than recipes. She rediscovered rhythm, pride, and drive. 3 months later, she was promoted. She changed shifts. Now she got home while the sun was still up. She had time to attend a school meeting. A small thing? Not for her. It was the first. But the most important part wasn't the salary or the change. It was the feeling. Rosa said, "I started walking differently, like the ground had become more solid." She didn't tell anyone about the ritual, not out of shame, but out of respect. It was intimate, sacred, a secret between her and something greater. You might ask, was it a coincidence? Maybe. But what psychology explains, and what many ignore, is the power of symbolic rupture. When we do something different, we break the mental cycle of repetition. The brain wakes up, the mind forms new connections, and the universe responds. Rosa wasn't expecting miracles, but by doing the ritual, she sent a deep message. I'm ready. And that was enough. Close your eyes for a moment. Yes, right now. Take a deep breath. Once more. Now soak this in with your entire body. What if, in just 7 days, something completely unexpected happened to you? I'm not talking about magic in the usual sense. I'm talking about a shift in vibration, an email arriving without even asking, a message from someone you'd lost contact with, an invitation, a new physical sensation, a yes after so many no's. Could you recognize that moment, or would it pass unnoticed like so many times before? The truth is, life has already tried to give you a lot, but maybe you were too busy with noise, or too doubtful to notice, or, like Rosa, stuck in a silent survival pattern. Most people want visible, quick, provable changes, but they forget what matters most: inner space. Have you ever tried putting something new into a full drawer? It opens, but nothing fits. Energy works the same way. It's not about deserving. It's about allowing. And allowing is a subtle gesture. Psychology calls it emotional priming. When the brain is exposed to a new suggestion, it begins preparing the internal ground, even unconsciously. That's what's happening to you right now. You might not consciously notice, but something inside is already responding. And that something doesn't rely on blind faith. It relies on openness. You've made it this far. And that alone places you in a very small group of people ready to do things differently. Not because they expect miracles, but because they're willing to stop repeating. Rituals have existed for millennia for one simple reason. They act as symbolic shortcuts to profound mental states. They speak to the unconscious, where real change lives. Have you ever felt that something's about to happen without knowing why? That kind of intuition isn't superstition. It's subtle intelligence. It's the unconscious sensing signals before the rational mind does. And when you perform an intentional gesture, like the ritual you're about to do, you're saying without words, I'm ready to see what I used to ignore. And that's when the field opens up, because what was once invisible now has room to arrive. This next step isn't just a tutorial, it's a symbolic portal. It's not about knowing how to do it. It's about doing it in a way your body understands, that your energy registers, that your subconscious mind recognizes as a new pattern. The desire is planted. Attention is here. Vibration has begun to move. You'll notice it's not just a hand gesture. It's about turning a hidden gear within you. And that movement has consequences. So here's my invitation. Don't watch with your eyes only. Watch with your heart, with your body, with intention. And get ready. What you're about to see isn't complex, but it's precise, exact, ancient, and for those who practice it, it's transformative. Let's begin the ritual. Take a glass with clean water. Place it on a stable surface where no one will interrupt you. Feel the weight of the glass, the temperature. Observe the transparency of the water. This water now represents your consciousness. Everything you believe, feel, remember. Everything you carry, and everything you're ready to release. Now, take a small piece of paper, discreet, and a pen. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes for a moment and write a sentence that represents what holds you most today. It doesn't need to be beautiful. It needs to be true. It could be, I release the fear of not being enough. I let go of the burden of trying to control everything. I'm ready to live with lightness. Write what resonates most within you now. Fold that paper once. Now take a small spoonful of salt. Any salt will do. The key is the gesture. With your left hand, add the salt to the water. Watch as it dissolves slowly. This dissolution is not only symbolic, it's energetic. It represents what is leaving your mental and emotional field. Take the paper and immerse it in the salt water. Just leave it there. In that moment, your unconscious mind receives a message. I am creating space. Close your eyes for 30 seconds. Imagine this water absorbing everything you no longer need to carry. Imagine the density drifting away. You don't need to visualize anything perfect. Just trust the gesture. The gesture is the language that the invisible understands. When you feel ready, take the glass and bring it to the bathroom, garden, or any place where you can respectfully dispose of the water. Pour the water slowly, no rush, like someone releasing an old part of themselves. Take a deep breath. This ritual can be done for 7 consecutive days, or just once, if that's enough. You will know what feels right. Do not share it with everyone. This ritual is an ancestral gift. Speak of it only to those who feel it. If you wish, keep the paper by your side for a few hours before dissolving it. Some keep it a while, others release it immediately. Both work. What matters is not the time. It's the intention. Abundance is not a destination. It's a state. And by performing this simple gesture, you have already begun to vibrate on a different frequency. You've made it this far. You didn't just watch, you felt. You might not know exactly what has changed, but something has changed. Subtle, deep, like the tide retreating before a new wave arrives. That feeling you carry now, that different silence, is confirmation that the ritual worked. Not because something external happened immediately, but because internally something moved. And internal movement always precedes external manifestation. Psychology calls this positive cognitive disruption. It's when you experience something that breaks an internal pattern, even symbolically, and it restructures how your brain perceives the world around you. After this point, you are no longer exactly the same. Your vibration isn't the same. And because of that, what you attract also changes. Don't underestimate the power of the gesture you made. It activated something that was dormant, something that doesn't move with effort, but with presence. Abundance doesn't come to those who are always fighting. It comes to those who are ready. And today, you became ready. You might not notice it now, but in the coming days, small signs will begin to appear. You'll hear phrases that sound like answers. You'll notice invitations, synchronistic events, coincidences too strange to ignore. Write them down, observe, receive. And to anchor this transformation, write in the comments, I felt it. I'm ready to live the new. That sentence isn't for me. It's for you. It's your pact with this new frequency. When you write it, you affirm it. And when you affirm it, your subconscious mind records it as truth. This is called symbolic commitment, and it's one of the most powerful mechanisms for emotional and energetic change. Moreover, by commenting, you also send a signal to the collective field. I'm part of this. I chose it. And that field responds because it's alive. It's intelligent. It's you. In expansion, like this video. Share it with someone who needs this pause. But don't do it as a favor. Do it as an act of abundance. When you share what heals you, you expand the space to receive more. And if you're not subscribed yet, click now. Not just for new videos, but because each subscription is a new link in this silent transformation network we're building. Each awakened person awakens another. Each small gesture creates waves. This channel isn't about formulas. It's about frequencies. It's not about changing the world outside. It's about tuning the world within and watching the reflection. Remember this: abundance doesn't need to be sought. It's already knocking on your door. All you needed was to pause for a moment, to listen. See you soon.